Okay, so let's stay in that place of when I pray. I feel myself go deeper into who I truly am, into the divinity of my own spirit. So let's take a breath. And let's release what is ours to let go of. Let's breathe again. And let go one more time. And this time, let's breathe in that knowingness of prayer and the release of the things we let go of when we are in prayer. And let's take this calm sense that we have right now into a couple of minutes of silence. As we return to this place in time, we know that we can bring forward the stillness and the calm of the place we just were at any time in our lives. This morning we bring forward a deeper sense of understanding, of divine understanding. The seeking to know more about why things are happening the way they are in our lives. And the peace of knowing that we will know why in good time. We affirm divine understanding. We give thanks for divine understanding. And with that we say, Amen. Amen. So, what is standing under you? I feel like I'm a little loud. Am I a little loud or is it just me? Okay. What is standing under you? My still favorite book on the 12 powers. This is a question Winifred Hausmann raises, to look at understanding a little different way. She says, what is standing under you? Because when we have a good, solid spiritual understanding, we are grounded in a way that we won't be if we don't have that. If we just have material or sense understanding, like understanding why the weather happens, well, that's nice intellectually to know, right? But when it comes to our own lives and what's going on in our lives and what's going on with the people around us, there's a different kind of understanding. There's a spiritual understanding that will ground us and give us a solidness that we don't get from any other place. We have some wonderful stories in the Bible. The first one that always comes to mind is Solomon. The Lord said, Solomon, you're going to be the king now. What do you want? And what did Solomon say? Please give me understanding, that I may know the difference between good and evil. That's what he asked for, not anything else. Understanding. And then we have the wonderful story where the two women came to him claiming the same baby. They both said, this is my baby, this is my baby. And he did something very unusual. He said, well, if you're both going to insist it's your baby, I think we'll cut the baby in half, right? And we'll give you each half, because he knew what would happen. The true mother stepped forward and said, no, 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 she can have the baby. Because that's what the mother would do. So this divine understanding in a different kind of way than just rational scientific. So what is standing under you? There's also a wonderful Bible story, very short, I'm going to read in a minute. This question, what is standing under you? If you build on sand, what happens? It's probably not going to be very solid, is it? So we have this short little story here. That is not right there. It's right here. Everyone who hears these words of mine and acts on them will be like a wise man who built his house on rock. The rain fell, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, but it did not fall because it had been founded on rock. And everyone who hears these words of mine, this is Jesus speaking, and does not act on them will be like the foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell, and great was its fall. So metaphors, right? Wonderful metaphors that we can take forward in our lives. What is your life built on? We were up in Page, not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before, and this is not, as you can tell, one of our pictures. I did not get to downloading the camera. We did a smooth water raft trip on the upper portion of the Colorado River there. So we were down in the canyon, just like John Wesley Powell was, 150 years ago, but smooth water, so you didn't have to worry about getting thrown out of the raft or something. And we got the historical explanation and geology, and it was just fantastic. We had been up in that area once before to Vermilion Cliffs, but this picture, so I was going to say, I didn't want our little cell phones on the raft, even though it was smooth water. So we took the real camera, and I haven't downloaded the real camera yet. But has anyone else been up there, Vermilion Cliffs, Page, up in that part of the, oh wow, it's Zoya's raising her hand. Good, you were with us. You're affirming and remembering you were with us. It's really a fascinating part of the state, very unique. Now, if you look at this picture, you'll see the kinds of things we saw. If you start at the top, you see kind of flatness. You see lateral stripes in the rock. And then if you come down, I should have my little laser light. If you come, there's a laser light on here? Wow.
Push this button.
Oh, which one?
Just that button. You
That
gotta
button.
hold it though.
Okay, so if you look here, you see how now we're almost vertical, and then we're kind of scooping against almost lateral, and then it comes down here again, and then it's lateral, and then we've got this other shape here. Well, these shapes were created by drifting of sands over eons. It moved the drift this way, and it hardened. It moved the next drift that way, and it hardened. Moved the next drift that way, and it hardened. So you see all of these different patterns. And it's a real reminder of the difference between rock and sand. Here we have rock, very solid, but you wouldn't really want to go stand on the edge because it still is a little bit crumbly. Yet when it was in its true sand form, it was moving, shaping, doing all kinds of different things all the time. So what do we want to build our spiritual understanding on, right? Rock or shifting sands? Right? Or something like that. Wow. That is anchored, don't you think? Okay, so another metaphor to take forward of how it can feel to be grounded in spiritual understanding. So this is something else that Hausmann says in this book. Divine understanding puts feet under our prayers and gives our spiritual activity something to stand on. Now there's a couple things going on here. Puts feet under our prayers. Okay? What do our feet do? They walk, they carry, they move. They hold us when they support. Exactly. Both of these things going on. They support us, they hold us, they anchor us to the ground, and they move. And these are the two messages that she puts forward here. Divine understanding is not static. She says we need to be willing to grow and change if we really want to seek understanding. Because today's understanding may not be tomorrow's understanding. Think in your lives. Is today's understanding the same understanding you had a year ago? Or 10 years ago? No. Our experiences change. Our lives move. And we get a different kind of understanding. So she says, if you want divine understanding, be ready to change. Be ready to change, be open to change. Or you're going to be stuck in the same understanding you had yesterday. And then we're really missing something. Okay, so does life ever feel like that?
Oh my God.
Right? Like you don't have ground under your feet. Like you lost track of that rock. Like you're floating. Sometimes I feel like this when we travel. Right? Because you don't have your familiar surroundings. Things are different. You're in a different house. You're in a motel. You're with different people, different patterns. Does life ever feel like that?
Ew.
That you're just stuck. Right? That you're just stuck and you would like to move. You would like to learn something. You would like to do something different, but there is something holding you in place. And you don't know quite how to let go. Or like that. Like you've outgrown. Right? I don't understand that picture either. But it was perfect for what I wanted to say. You know, that you've outgrown your that you're bearing an old understanding that is too small. That is confining. That is holding you to a belief system that doesn't work for you anymore. So, we can move from there to how that feels, right? With our feet on the ground, planted. We can move from there, right? Happy feet, our feet that move, our feet that express, our feet that share our beliefs with the world. And we can move from there to something that fits. And you'll notice I had to look for a while, but to find a specific picture that shows a little room for movement, right? Room for growth. So I want you to take a minute right now. If it's easy and comfortable for you, you can slide your shoes off. If not, just wiggle your feet in your shoes. Just wiggle your feet in there. Either that or pull them off for a minute. And just feel how that feels to have some movement and some motion. And that's what we want to carry forward to divine understanding. The movement, the motion. So Thomas is the disciple that holds divine understanding for us. And we have this in John. Thomas said to Jesus, "Lord, we do not know where you are going. How can we know the way?" And Jesus said to him, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." Okay, now we sometimes refer to Thomas as doubting Thomas, right? Because Thomas was the one who had questions. He's like, "Show me. Prove it to me. I need to see it. I need to touch it. I need to hear it from your own mouth." But another way to think about Thomas is he was the questioner. He wanted to know. He wanted to understand. He wasn't content to be in silence with his wondering. With his going, "Well, I wonder where we're going. But I don't think I'm going to ask anybody because I probably shouldn't do that. So I'll just sit not knowing." Okay. Instead, we have Thomas asking. And he did this more times. That he asked. He said, "I don't know, I don't get it, I don't understand it, I may not even believe it. Tell me, explain to me, help me understand." So, ask and relax. Because the other part of this is not getting all uptight about it. And we get that way sometimes too, right? I want to know now, right? I want to understand this now because I'm really confused and I don't like what's happening. And if I understood it, I could accept it better. Well, you know, part of accepting is just accepting. Releasing and letting that go. So we're kind of carrying around a little bit of an oxymoron here, right? Where we're asking for more understanding, for deeper spiritual understanding, but we're also accepting that it might take a little time. And we might have some other experiences along that path that we didn't bargain for. And then all of a sudden, one day we go, oh, that was part of me getting to divine understanding, that experience I had that I wished I hadn't. Because we don't know how the answer comes, right? We ask the question, but we don't know how the answer comes. And it often comes disguised in things that we don't readily recognize until we sit back one day and go, oh, that's what that was about. So Hausmann goes on to say, the prayerful awakening of spiritual power comes about through a relaxed desire to know more. A relaxed desire to know more. Last Sunday we were in Wisconsin on Sunday. We were in Wisconsin for 3 days, and then we were in Minnesota for 3 or 4 days. And part of the experience I had there was we went to see my dad and Elvina. My mom passed about 10 years ago, and a couple years later he married Elvina. And just last fall, well then he pretty much got rid of all of his worldly possessions for the most part, the stuff, I should say, the stuff, and moved from town onto the farm, Elvina's farm. So Elvina still has a house full of stuff, right? And you know how we are with our houses. We need more and more storage space, right? We never have enough closets. Well, why don't we have enough closets? Because we got so much stuff, right? And there's this huge market in storage spaces, in storage bins, and all different kinds of, right? I mean, think about that. And it's because we have so much stuff. My grandparents did not have storage problems. They had what they needed, and that was about it. Okay, so she's got a house full of stuff. So we went out to the farm. We took my dad and Elvina out to the farm. Just last fall, they moved into town into an assisted living facility, which they both needed to be in at that time. Because we're talking about the farm in Minnesota. And if anybody keeps touch with the Midwest weather, you know that last winter was about the worst they've had in a long time. Very, very cold and lots of snow. So they were in town in an assisted living facility where we all felt secure, and they did too. But so we took them out to the farm, and Elvina's got flowers, and so we cut another bouquet. And a couple of her kids have been there taking stuff out of the kitchen cupboards, is where they started, spread all over the dining room table and the countertops, so she can start to see what's there, right? And she invited us. She said, if there's something here you'd like to take, go ahead. And we took just 3 or 4 things. And my dad's little pile in the garage was about that big. Like I said, he got rid of his stuff before. He had a beautiful pair of cowboy boots. He wears a size 13. And these boots are pointed, so you know they're about that long. So he invited us to take the boots, and we did for now. They have an honorary place in the dining room. But then when we came back on, what day was that? Thursday. We had some time in the afternoon, and we did a little bit of shopping, and the girls did some back-to-school shopping, and I think I got one top. And with that one top, I went, okay, it's time for me to pull some more things out of my closet, right? So she dug into hers, and she got a bag full of stuff. I dug into my closets. I went through every drawer, every hidden shelf yesterday, and I got one huge bag and about 4 or 5 other smaller bags. We moved 4 years ago, and we moved 5 years ago, and I got rid of stuff every time we moved. But still, I pulled all of that stuff out, you know? And when we were in Minnesota, and we took my dad and Elvina out to the farm, and I'm going through this experience of watching her need to sift through things, and she'll probably keep next to nothing of this, because she doesn't have room to keep any of this stuff. And I went through this when my mom passed about 10 years ago, and I'm like, oh, this releasing. I don't want to go through this again. But you know, somehow I came home with a different kind of personal understanding that I needed to do more releasing. Okay? It's not just about other people releasing. There's a message for me about what's mine to release. So yesterday I released a bunch of stuff, you know, and I'm noticing, I just said you know twice. And I have a cousin who lives in southwestern Minnesota, who when you have a conversation with her, it's about every 5th phrase is, you know. You know? And we were teasing her about that. So here I am standing here this morning saying, you know. Yeah. Yet, releasing that material stuff is again just a metaphor for releasing other things. Releasing beliefs that don't work. Releasing perhaps traditions that don't work. I know some people have a hard time around holidays. And there's maybe some traditions there that need to be released and reinvented. Last year, Christmas Eve Day, we spent at SeaWorld. Now that's pretty unconventional, and it was fantastic. So we have an opportunity all the time to look at our lives and say, what are we anchored in? What are we standing on? Is it time to move and stand in something just a little bit different? And that moving can be scary. Okay? It can be scary. Yet we know, the other thing we know is that the rock of spiritual understanding is there whether we are standing on it or not. Right? It's always there for us. So when we move, we know that we can move from one place of spiritual understanding to another. It's the same rock. We're just on a different piece of it. Thank you. We're just on a different piece of it, that's all. And we can move around on there and build and grow and deepen our own spiritual understanding. So stand on the solid rock of divine understanding. That's what we can do when we claim it and we know that we're there. I have a little series of affirmations here. So let's say these together. Let's do this first one. Divine understanding is awakened in me. My feet are placed on the firm rock of divine understanding. I am willing to grow and change. I am divinely guided in all that I do. I see spiritually, I feel spiritually, I know spiritually. And this is what we can come home to. When we're confused about whatever is going on in our lives, or whatever is going on in the world, come home to knowing that that rock of divine understanding is ours. We just got to know we're there. We got to know that's where our feet are, and we got to know we can move them and grow in that process. So in Proverbs we read, happy are those who get understanding. That's pretty simple, isn't it? Happy are those who get understanding, because we know how frustrating it can feel when we don't get what's going on around us. And we're not able to hold on to it and understand it in a deeper way. So, welcome to happiness. Enjoy your stay. Thank you.